Welcome, welcome, welcome to Fellowship. Here is where we discuss estate planning, matters love, loss, and legacy. And when you come into this channel, be ready, be prepared to be shaken, to make a move, impact yourself and your family. Thank you very much for joining me today. Let us have this very worthwhile, very timely conversation, whether you're seated by yourself or you're seated with your spouse or you're seated amongst your family, sibling, parent, kin or not. It is important that we remind ourselves we will not be here tomorrow, but we can guarantee a better tomorrow for those who we leave behind. Why estate planning? Why are you even considering it today? Is it important if you're just 29 years old and you just finished university? Or are you too late just because you've turned 70 and you're seeing your grandchildren running around and wondering, is it really necessary that you do your estate planning? I say estate planning is mandatory. If we want to change the next generation, we must bring ourselves to the conscious realization that it takes a thought and then a decision to make that radical change. Why do we need it, and why do we desperately need it in this day and era? One, a lot of the people who we interact with as adults or even as young adults are very well educated. But are they really educated in the matters of their family, or will they realize that they have some gaps and errors where you may be seated in your family making certain decisions about a meal, but you do not know where that meal comes from. You may not know who your landlord or your landlady is. You may not even know the kind of business that your parents were involved in as they brought you up. And grateful as you are, the decisions that they made throughout your lifetime could actually greatly shift the way that you continue navigating your life should anything happen to them today. So when I talk about estate planning, I don't talk about it in the terms of death. Much as death will come to all of us, we are mortal human beings, but there are many things that can shift us and bring loss into us just beyond death. There are things like loss of employment. There are things like loss of capacity to work. Maybe physically you get impacted in an accident or through a disease that you're unable to continue working. And that includes both your bodily capacity and your mental capacity. There are situations that push us over the edge and we suffer what we call mental shifts, where you feel maybe you need extra support in terms of Medicare, or you need extra support in terms of someone handling your day-to-day activities. And estate planning comes into those moments. We are very excited and very eager when we hear of conceiving of a child, and we get very excited planning gender reveals. We plan baby showers. We walk into different hospitals and medical institutions trying to find the perfect fit, both pocket-wise and for your family, for receiving that baby. What we don't know is that once that baby comes into this world, it is then their main duty to carry forward the life that has been brought into them into the next universe. Whether you believe in eternity or not, death will come. That point that it comes, if you planned for it, then you'll have saved certain people agony that could shift them maybe from riches to poverty, maybe from ability to work to inability to work. Therefore, estate planning shouldn't come at a scary moment where you are unwell or a scary moment where you've lost a life. It should be decided when you are most comfortable, when you are able to deal with yourself and make certain decisions about yourself without any pressure, any fear of granting someone extra favor, or any fear of being forced into a certain decision. So, are you planning to get married? That is an estate plan. Are you planning to have a baby? That is an estate plan. Are you planning to start a business? Are you planning to go into content creation? Are you planning to retire? Are you planning to receive that pension that you've just been paying into? You've probably resigned from a job or you've been terminated from a job. Are you planning something with those finances? Are you planning to buy property? Are you planning to invest with a partner or with your siblings? Or you're planning to invest with your parents or on your parents' property? Are you planning to buy a car? Do you want to set up a savings account? Have you been hearing the rumors that, oh, probably this investment is not doing well, this particular investment is doing well? Maybe you're planning to put all your funds into the government. I want to assure you today, you may be the only one without a plan. The government has an estate plan. How does it do that? It creates a manifesto, an agenda, and propagates it through different regimes. In comes one executive, out goes the other. The government remains in place. The person who you're probably seated next to, maybe someone has planned for them. Their parents probably have already organized for how they'll be going to university or how they'll be taking care of their children as they continue making the finances work better for their child. All that is involved in estate planning. So my first and very clear point should be estate planning is not for the rich. Estate planning is for the wise. God has an estate plan. The devil has an estate plan. We both know that in those estate plans, you probably want to be in one and not the other. If you're not a believer or you're not a religious person at all, you know that there are plans that come in where someone has decided to make a move that would impact you negatively or positively. So why shouldn't you be in the driver's seat when it comes to matters your body, matters your health, matters your family, matters your property, and even more so, bringing them all into a consolidated fashion. Let me talk to you who sits there and thinks, well, nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has been affecting my life over the last 2 years, 5 years, and probably nothing will. 5 years ago, we all experienced a pandemic. It was global. It was a mind shift. It was a complete life-changing moment. For most of us, we went through it mildly unscathed, but for some, it was a grave change that happened, either a loss of a breadwinner or a change in job situation. That pandemic should not have been the reason why chaos were thrown into those particular families. But from there, in every cloud, there's a silver lining. Why do we say that? If you're going through something difficult now, the thing that you can take out of it is the lesson. If you bear the weight of grief now, the thing that you can take out of it is the lesson, because grieving doesn't also have to bring poverty. You may be thinking today that your friends and your family will be pulling together to help you and sort you out should you be in a medical emergency. And yes, you are right. For the most part, people will pull resources to bring you or your loved one into some form of soft accommodation for medical purposes. But in this day and era, how many of us have an opportunity to send any kind of contribution where you've heard there's an emergency that has happened or a loss that has happened? For most people, we have really embraced the features where you are not entitled to bring me into a group just because you have my number or you have my email address. You should get my consent. And with my consent comes an extra power. I would like to participate in that decision. Today, we shy away from attending fundraisers. In this present day, most persons who are getting married do not get fundraising. And this was not the case 15 years ago. We are living in a completely different culture change. We are seeing more and more people looking to be self-sustaining. We're seeing a lot more independently grown human beings. We're seeing different types of families. So you're seated there saying, my family has not been affected. My parents are still here. I still live at home, or I live by myself, and I have nothing. I don't have anything that I have invested. But I'm here to remind you, investment is not equals to the value of what you have or you hold, what you contain within yourself, your knowledge, what you have within your capacity for working, the savings that you have in your bank account or in any interest earning account, the money that you hold in your M-Pesa, the decisions that you make, whether for work or for family, all that is part of consideration as your portfolio. Let's expand it a little bit more. If your parents needed someone to give them a ride to a wedding or a funeral, who do they call? If you yourself have a child and are school going and they need transport to come back home or go to school, if you were not able to provide it yourself directly and there may be no school bus or no public means around the area you live, who is that person you would send to pick up that child from school or take them to school? If we just expand it a little bit more, you are a group of siblings, one is in university, one is in high school, maybe you don't have your parents or your parents are not able to do the day-to-day active management of one of you. Who becomes the one in charge of making decisions like which transport means do you use to go home? How much do you spend in allowance? If you get that allowance at all, does it come from your sibling? Who pays your fees if you're in school? Who pays your rent if you live by yourself? Who pays for your charmer? If you rely on your child, for instance, to send some money home and to be able to make the day-to-day needs of that home be met, the utilities of your home, when we are facing retirement, who is that person that you call to make sure something has been done? Your lights don't need to be cut. Your water does not need to be disconnected. You yourself do not need to suffer not having fare to use public transport to go to a certain event. You yourself need company. Who is that person who makes those micro decisions for your day-to-day life sustenance? That is the comfort that we talk about when we talk to estate planning decision makers, the people who can naturally gravitate the movement of their family. Let's expand it even more. Who makes the decision of which hospital you will be taken to when you fall sick? Or maybe you unfortunately get involved in an accident. Who makes the decision on where someone is to be buried? Who gets the burial permit? The micro decisions that happen when you are unable to make those decisions yourself. So we've seen sometimes it's you do not have the capacity. Maybe you're a child and you're not able to make a decision of how to get home. Maybe you do not have the physical ability to take care of your child and therefore you rely on another child to make certain decisions. Perhaps you do not have the work capacity. You're not working and earning an income to be able to sustain your home and meet its utilities, whether it is cleaning your home, buying your food, paying for the fuel in your car, paying your workmen, whether you need someone to send to get you certain things. And then we've also seen you may not actually have the ability to decide what happens to you. Your body, maybe it's suffering from a disease or an illness, or you've suddenly been involved in an accident, or you pass away. All those steps are covered in estate planning. What can you do to make sure that your child gets picked up from school, your other child doesn't get left alone in school without an allowance, your other child probably has their rent paid up, you get some fees paid up and you retired before all your children finished their university, or you yourself know which hospital you would prefer to go to. Or probably there's a doctor that has been working with you your whole life, and that is a person that you truly want to maintain the connection into your family. You want the distance to be shortened, you want them to be known to the people who you love, and you want them to know that this person has been taking care of you. And over and above that, you have the key in your hand to decide if you want to be buried, should you pass away today, if you want to be cremated, where you want to be buried or cremated, where you even want your ashes to be spread across, or perhaps you want something to be left behind as your legacy. You want to give back to that children's home. You want to give back towards an education fund for certain children that you take care of. You probably want to give back to your family, or you simply want them to know how to use the property that you've acquired in your lifetime. So estate planning, as I said, is not for the rich. It has its times, it has its timelines. You are not too late, and the only person who is too late is a person who is no longer here. Why are you considering estate planning? Why are we even talking about it? Is it really necessary? I mean, should everybody just plan their own life? Is that really the thing that you're caring for in your heart? Is that the truth for you, or you really don't care? I mean, everybody needs to plan for themselves. I'm not here to buy property so that my children end up feeling they don't need to work. The biggest fear that you probably have is the fear that they also have. They may fear to lose you because the life that you're providing is the life they will not be able to provide for themselves. Or they have nobody to lean onto because you've not shown them that direction. We have moved further and further away from villages where in each village, if there was a child running around, they could be invited into anybody's home to get a meal, whether they are hungry or not. The village took care of its people. So it made sure all the children could go to school, all the children could find a meal to eat. Poverty is something that is a cyclic problem. Why is it cyclic? Because poverty is brought about where every generation must start from scratch. An intergenerational fresh start is the perpetuating of cyclic poverty. Generational wealth is a principle. If you're a believer, it's a godly principle. Why do we say that? If you had a house today or you owned a piece of land today and something happened to you that you no longer have capacity to work on that house or on that property, and you wake up 5 years from today to realize nobody worked on it, nobody even knew that you owned it, how would that impact you? And how would that have impacted them for the 5 years you have been missing? If you were to sit down and analyze the decisions that you make on a day-to-day, the person who brings in the milk into your home, the person who you can send to get certain emergency items, if that person was unknown to your spouse, unknown to your children, how would that change how they operate if you were not able to speak up from tomorrow? If you were not present, if you suddenly fell ill and you needed to go to a hospital, which hospital do you want to go to? Is that a decision that you believe can comfortably be made by the people you interact with on a day-to-day, whether that be your friends or your family? If you are answering no to any of these questions, then estate planning is for you. Why do I say that? The reason you're setting up a plan is so that there is continuity. Continuity allows for certain things to happen outside of the chaotic emotional landscape of loss. Loss is a big life changer. Loss of life, loss of employment, loss of a business, loss of money. Maybe you have been robbed, or you're facing loss of a family situation, loss of a marriage, you're going through a divorce. Maybe you're facing a loss in another type of way that you yourself did not anticipate. Had you sat down before that loss happened, were there decisions that you could have made that would have made that loss less negatively impactful to you? If the answer is yes, then estate planning is for you. If you're getting into a marriage, you're probably planning for your wedding, and you would like to do something that is befitting both for your spouse and your family. Yet you have not talked to them about how to access the funds that you're using for that wedding. You have not talked to them about where you would like to live. And if you have, you probably do not know how to pay for the place that you live in. If you probably have children and the children have school fees paid for, let us remove the aspect of fighting for upkeep and maintenance, because that is a legal process. We are here to discuss if you didn't have to go through that legal process, The before the loss. Have you talked about before you have lost something, before you have lost someone? Emergency funds are an estate plan too, because it talks about the loss of ability to earn an income. Maybe it's a job or a business, and you have an emergency fund that can sustain you for a period that allows you a buffer to keep looking for a job or start up another business. You have to create an estate plan that is befitting for you and the people you decide for. If you decide for your children where they go to school, if you were not there, who will take them to school? We've already asked the who. Who does this for you? Who decides this for you? Who goes here for you? Who has been answered? The why needs to be covered. The why is not because someone will steal from you or because someone is not trusted by you. The why is, I love you enough to understand that anything happening to me will in fact impact you. So what do we do from here? How do we move from the why? I need to understand the why and move into the how. If I've already understood what I am doing and what I'm seated down to discuss, who I have agreed makes decisions around my life and why I actually need to tie them all together, I'm here to now help you do the how. The how is who, why, and what brought together. So how do we tie them all back together? How does it meet the why, what, and who? Who is the guardian? Who is the trustee? Who is the executor? Terms that probably you're hearing for the first time, or you've been reading up about them, or you've had a conversation about it with someone. So we'll know who by virtue of who we term them as. So how do we term them as what we want them to be? If you were to write your will today, you would need to decide two things. Should you have children, you need someone to be their guardian. An adult who can speak for them until they are of adult age. Adult age, by our constitution, is 18 years old. If you are above 18, you do not need a guardian over yourself unless you are a vulnerable member of society who has need for special care. Then, therefore, you need a guardian maybe for the whole of your life, or you need a guardian extended to certain aspects of your life. The who, again, comes in when you're writing a will and you say, I want this person to carry forward this will and make sure it is executed the way I want. That is the executor, the person who makes decisions about where to pay the things that are called your life needs, your utilities, maybe pay up your bills. That person is a worthwhile executor. Where to take you to bury you, where to make the decision to take the hospital of this kind, where to go, where to navigate, that person becomes your executor. The other who is, who are you doing this for? Is it just for yourself? Are you your only loved one? Is it just for your children? Is it for your spouse and children? Maybe you're interculturally married and your cultures do not blend when it comes to loss. Therefore, you want to speak beyond culture and you want your wife or your husband to take over a certain decision that they would not otherwise be allowed to take. So the who is the beneficiary. The who you're discussing is the beneficiary and what that beneficiary does with the decision that you have taken in that moment. In the moment when you're planning for estate planning, once you've understood what you're doing, then you know, how can I do this? How? I have a will. How? Maybe I want to set up a trust. What exactly is a trust? And we will see this more as we discuss within fellowship. We are here not only to dine and wine on discussions that matter most in our families, but to also understand how the law brings in this particular aspect, how lawyers can help you make decisions that stand the test of time. We are living in a very fearful age where we don't know whether we will wake up tomorrow. We don't know whether we will fall sick. We don't know whether our lifestyle will catch up with us, because you admire the people who probably are able to do workout on a daily basis, or you admire the people who are able to take their nutrition seriously, and you feel like you have no capacity or you have no will to do it. But I guarantee you, when you start your estate planning journey, it becomes easy as butter. You are able to sit down and discuss the who. And the final who is you. Who are you when you're talking about the estate plan? Who do you center yourself as? Do you place yourself as a trustee? Do you place yourself as the testator? You only want to write a will? Do you place yourself only as a donor? What are you donating? Is it that you're donating your organs or you're simply donating your property? Who do you become when we're talking to estate planning? The point of estate planning is not to put fear, but to free you from being afraid to live your life and not knowing whether in living your life, certain things will affect the people that you live with. If you live alone or you have no beneficiaries and you're investing and you're working, the government should not be your last beneficiary, because I can assure you, if you do not have an estate plan, a plan will be created for you. When you're not able to make that plan, a plan will be created for you. So, as I said earlier, it is easier to make this plan when you are at comfortable mind point. It is very easy to make that decision when you have no fear, no force, no pressure, rather than when you're facing your illness head on, you're facing the loss of a loved one head on, you're facing the loss of a marriage head on, you're facing the loss of your children, maybe you're in a custody battle. And at that point is when you're needed to make a critical decision, but your mind and your heart are not aligned. So it is easier when you're doing it at the comfort of your life has not yet felt a shift, a paradigm shift in the negative, and you're able to steer it in a different perspective. So, welcome to estate planning. Here we learn to live well and also to live well. We love to plan and we love to build legacies that last. Thank you for joining me in fellowship. See you on the next episode where we will talk about the real hows, how to do it, and what you need to know about the how that you want to choose. Thank you very much. Winnie Maingi is my name. I'm an estate planner and a trust and estate practitioner, certified, and looking forward to meeting families where they need to build their own legacies.